If you were online in 2018, you're probably already familiar with Noisestorm's iconic music video, Crab Rave. Released as an April Fool's joke, Crab Rave took the internet by storm, earning over 100 million views and spawning countless memes. As time went on, Crab Rave appeared less and less prominently online, as internet trends do. But unlike the 44th President of the United States, Noisestorm has not been gone. He's been hard at work, in fact. If you check his YouTube channel, you'll probably see some videos for a spiritual successor to Crab Rave, in the form of a video game called Crab Champions. Many thought that due to this trailer's release on April 1st, that these are elaborate jokes about a game that isn't actually happening. But let me tell you, Crab Champions is very real, and it's very good. When I first saw the trailer for Crab Champions, I was thrilled. Crab Rave was, and still is, one of my favorite songs in a completely unironic sense. It's catchy, it's fun, and it takes a lot of restraint to not listen to it over and over. Fast forward a couple years, and I was given a closed beta key by Noisestorm after a recommendation, which, shout out to Longboy on Discord for vouching for me. And let me just say, even if Crab Rave isn't in the game, everything that made me fall in love with it is, and in even greater amounts. I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm not the biggest player of shooters or roguelikes. When I sit down to play a game, I'm typically looking for something low stress. If I'm in search of a challenge, I prefer it to be something with a lot of checkpoints or low stakes for dying. So yeah, even though I spend a lot of time playing games, I still consider myself kind of a casual. So when I waited for a chance to try out Crab Champions, a fast-paced third-person shooter where dying resets your progress, I kinda had this idea in the back of my head that I might not get as much enjoyment out of it as other people would. But boy was I wrong. I wasn't enduring gameplay I didn't like to listen to the music and enjoy the graphics. If anything, I got so addicted to the gameplay of Crab Champions that I started having withdrawals when the beta went down for the week on Monday. I guess now's probably a good time to explain the gameplay of Crab Champions. Crab Champions is a third-person shooter roguelike where you choose a weapon and collect perks and mods that upgrade you and your weapon as you progress through islands, which as of now possess one of 5 different types of challenges. Horde Islands, where you must survive a large amount of enemies for a certain amount of time. Rush Islands, where you must eliminate smaller enemies until a larger one spawns. Challenge Islands, where you must beat more powerful enemies with a random modifier in place. And Elite and Boss Islands, which both pit you against one powerful enemy, but give you keys for beating them, which you can use to unlock new weapons and starting perks. Beating an island spawns in a chest, or 2 chests if you did really good, which contain 3 perks or mods that you can choose from. You can also visit a shop where you can purchase them from a giant crab named Tony in exchange for crystals, which are currency that you get from killing enemies or shattering bigger crystals. Beating the boss at the end of the game gives you the option of looping, or playing through a harder version of the game with your current inventory, or, alternatively, ending your run on a high note. Now, the crown jewel of Crab Champions has got to be the perks and mods. Collecting things to upgrade your crab is a very rewarding experience, and it also makes the game super replayable. Perks and upgrades you collect massively shape your run, and add a good amount of depth and strategy to the game. There are a huge number of them, and they can do anything from creating a damaging aura around you, to letting you leech health from enemies with your melee attack, to letting your grenade encase enemies in ice. Generally speaking, the rarer a perk or mod is, the more exciting it is, but mods also stack with duplicates of themselves, which makes finding more common mods you already have pretty useful. There are also greed mods, which come with upsides and downsides. There's also totems, which you can use to do stuff like randomize your inventory or gamble with your health bar. Perks can also synergize with weapons, which can make runs really interesting. There are perks that reward you for killing an enemy in one hit, which is awesome on the shotgun, but less awesome on the minigun. Discovering new perks and mods and planning your build around them makes you feel like some kind of crab mastermind assembling a secret weapon, and it's really fun. Some of my favorite games make moving around a blast, and Crab Champions feels like it was designed with mobility in mind. You can jump and do a flip for extra height, or double jump to the side to evade an attack. You can dash and then jump to get some extra momentum and zoom across the map. You can even use your scope to slow fall and spray bullets on your foes from above. The islands you journey across are practically littered with bounce pads for you to jump on, and elemental rocks with unique effects for you to destroy. But be aware, enemies also have the mobility to match, and can lunge at you, spray a flurry of projectiles, or even run at you and explode. Which reminds me, this game is hard. As a beginner, I barely passed easy mode. and I can get maybe halfway through normal mode, but the game is set up in a way where nothing really feels impossible. Because each run means different challenges and different perks and mods to find, you'll never feel stuck on any certain part. And that brings me to the icing on the crab cake, or whatever the equivalent of icing on a crab cake would be, I guess. I didn't really think this pun through. The presentation of Crab Champions is gorgeous. At first, I was a little sad when the art direction started moving away from the realistic look of the trailers to a more semi-realistic, semi-cartoony look, but it's grown on me massively now that I've tried out the game for myself. Fire and projectiles reflect off of the wet sand, light ripples on the surface of the water, and foliage sways in the breeze. Each island has a chance to take place at a different time of day, which really shows off the incredible lighting. And I haven't even got to the soundtrack yet, which Noisestorm absolutely knocked out of the park. The combination of electronic music and tropical sounding instruments works really well, and hearing my favorite song, Beach Funk, come on immediately makes me better at the game. I swear it does. I mean, just give it a listen. Good, right? Playing Crab Champions, it's hard to believe that the entire game was made by one person, but at the same time, it's easy. The entire game has the kind of polish and charm that is only getting rarer from big releases by big studios. The developer Noisestorm has also been listening to and asking the community about what's ideal and what needs to change, but also not compromising his vision. Really, my experience with Crab Champions has been fantastic, and I want to see this game succeed. Also, did I mention it's going to be $10 when Early Access comes out on Steam in April? Go check it out. And in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, go check out some of the other content creators for Crab Champions linked below. Thanks for watching.